Okay, guys, we're ready for the debate. My name's Jeff Depew, and I'm the editor of the Jefferson County Post, and this is the Jefferson County Post primary debate. And I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We've got a long list of candidates to, and if I get too far away from this, tell me. We've got a long list of candidates tonight, so we're going to kind of hop right into it. And once again, I appreciate everybody coming. We're going to be led tonight with our prayer from Mayor Mark Potts. Mark, if you would, please.
Thank you so much. And as Mayor of Jefferson County and Chair of County Commission, welcome you to Jefferson County Courthouse. We're always glad to be a part of an open and honest debate, hear people's ideas. Today's a special day, and I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that today is Vietnam Veterans Day. And if we have veterans here, I'd like to ask you to stand so that we can recognize you, especially our Vietnam veterans who are in here. So if you're a veteran, if you'll stand. We thank you for your service and what you've done for our country. Our good friend Mayor Jacobs is here, and I wanted to recognize him. He's the mayor of Knox County, but he has more ties in Jefferson County than he'll ever have in Knox County. So we're glad Mayor Jacobs is here. So at this time, let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for our veterans and the sacrifices they've made to give us the freedom to be able to stand and speak tonight and express our ideas and talk about how we want to make your county a better county, open armed county for everyone's ideas to where we can move forward and what we do as a county and as residents and as politicians. Let what we do be pleasing in your sight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mayor. And we're also going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Sheriff Jeff Coffey. Sheriff, if you would, please.
Stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Next is I was going to introduce our moderator tonight, our esteemed guest, and our moderator is Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, and he was kind enough to come up to run the moderation for us tonight. I'm going to turn the mic over to Mayor Jacobs for a second.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I very much appreciate it. I'd like to recognize Darrell Brady, who is the district director for Congresswoman Diane Harshbarger. He's here today, so thank you for being here as well, sir. I moved to East Tennessee in 1995, lived in Morristown for a little while, then met my wife, who was living in Johnson City. We lived up there for about a year and then moved here in 1996, late 1996. Many of y'all familiar with Cowboys Restaurant on Douglas Lake. That was my mother-in-law's place for many years. We lived here for 16 or 17 years and still actually have some property in Jefferson County. So I have an interest not only professionally, because what happens in Jefferson County impacts Knox County and vice versa. Mayor Potts and I have a very good relationship, as I think that most of the regional county mayors in our area do, and we're very fortunate and very blessed for that. But I also have a personal interest. We still own some property here in Jefferson County, so Mayor Potts is actually my mayor, and sometimes I'll let him know that when I say something I'm not happy about. So anyway, I very much appreciate y'all having me here tonight for this. It's a great honor for me. Thank you very much. And you know, the goal here is just to really allow candidates to air out their stands on policies, issues that are important to them, so that all of you can have a better idea and be better educated about the choices that you make on election day. unfortunately, in the current political environment, we should thank anyone that wants to run for office, because it is very hard. So it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So no matter what you might think about someone, if they're willing to put their hat in the ring, I respect that, and thank them for doing that. So I hope that we have an enjoyable time, and I hope that it's also productive, and that you learn more about the candidates who are running for these offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. First thing I want to do is go into a few explanations. I'm going to hold this up. The first thing I want to do is kind of go into an explanation of the rules for the debate. This debate will follow the formal rules of debating, which questions have been collected from the readership of the Jefferson County Post through submissions. Those questions have been vetted by a panel. Obviously, with that many questions, you're going to have a lot of repeats, things like that. So those have been gone through, pulled out the ones that are duplicates, those that are not particularly kind or had some things in them you probably wouldn't want to say in public. But anyway, we have a good set of questions for the candidates. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question pulled by the coordinator over here to my left, which is Sophie Swan. Sophie, thank you for your help tonight. And we'll be on a timer, so the 2 minutes will be kept by, and I'm not beyond pulling my family in for all the hard work. So my son and new daughter-in-law, Jake and Ashlyn Depew. Thank you, guys. When the candidate first comes up, they'll have an additional minute on the front end to introduce themselves. After that, with the second flight of questions, they'll still be limited to the 2 minutes. If a candidate is mentioned by another candidate, the candidate who's mentioned will have the right of rebuttal. We ask that the candidates do not mention other candidates in another race, or other district. So if you're in district, let's say 1 and 3, we ask that anybody going for the seats in District 1 not mention somebody in District 3, and vice versa. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into the judges. We appreciate all the judges that are here tonight, and due to the nature of being a judge, you're not really able to debate, so we give them a minute or so to introduce themselves. And I'm going to let that start us off tonight. How many judges do we have here tonight? I know there's more than I know there's more than that. I've talked to like 3 or 4 of you. Okay, I'm gonna go by name. Is Carter Moore here? Okay, that's 4th Judicial District, Part 1. Part 2 is Jim Gass. Jim, are you here tonight? Okay, Rex Henry Ogle in Part 3.
He was sick earlier today.
Okay, all right. 4th Judicial District, Part 4 is Dwayne Sloan. And then we go to Chancellor, 4th and 5th Judicial Districts, which is Nick Black and Jim Ripley.
We're here.
And I know these guys are here. All right. I'm going to turn it over to these guys to introduce themselves. I'm going down the order just like it is on the sample ballot. So, Mr. Black, if you'd like to go first.
1 minute. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank the Post and all of you all for coming out, giving us the opportunity to speak. Like I said, my name is Nick Black. I'm running for Chancellor. It's the 4th and the 5th Judicial Districts. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Blount County. Married my wife, who's also from Blount County. We've got 3 children. Football took me to Clemson, where I got an undergraduate and a master's degree. After that, returned to Knoxville for law school. Graduated from law school, went back to private practice in Blount County. And I've been practicing there ever since. My practice focuses on family law, probate, contracts, It's a general civil practice that would kind of be consistent with what the chancellor does. I am a very conservative Republican. I would ask that here in this minute, I think that's all I get. I would ask for your vote, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jim Ripley. I'm from Sevierville. I've been practicing law for about 38 years, primarily in Chancery Court. That was the first chancellor I ever knew, Chester Rainwater, a brilliant man. Learned a lot from him, and I've learned a lot from Telford Fogarty, who has endorsed me for this position. I'll tell you just briefly, what is a chancellor? Everybody is asking me, what is a chancellor? So if you don't know what a chancellor is, there's no shame in that. A chancellor is a judge who hears primarily civil cases. Chancellors hear complex land cases, boundary line cases, complex commercial cases. They don't hear any criminal cases. Someday I'll have more time and I'll tell you a little bit of what the history of the Chancery Court is. Chancellors were considered the king's conscience in Old England. I'd like to be the king's conscience for you. It's Jim Ripley. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you all. Okay, and the next thing on our agenda is the debate, and that is between District Attorney General, or for the District Attorney General's office, and that would be James B., Jimmy Dunn, and Michael Schultz. Are both candidates here tonight? Okay. Is Mr. Schultz there? Okay. Come on up. You get the question, yeah?
He's going to draw the question.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to you. If you'll pull questions, you got the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate everybody being here tonight and allowed me to speak. I am Jimmy Dunn. I am your District Attorney General, have been for the last 16 years, and prior to that, about 16 plus years, I was an Assistant District Attorney General in the 4th Judicial District. I'm from Newport, over in Cotton County, spent a lot of time in Jefferson County and Granger County and Sevier County as well. I would appreciate your vote. I will tell you this, that I'm running again. A lot of folks want to know why in the world you're running again. It's because I want to. And I want to because if you consider that thing within us, consider the nurse who does the job and could get COVID-19 or could even get prosecuted for making a mistake. Consider the police officer who puts his life on the line every day. Every day he knows that he or she could get killed, and yet they do it anyway. Consider the firefighter who goes out and fights the fire and goes into a burning house and tries to save people and himself. The walls may cave in at any time. Thank you for your time.
No, you got more. You got more.
What I'm trying to say is that there's that thing. What I'm trying to say is there's that urge, that sense of responsibility that's within a person to do a job. And within me is that thing that encourages me each and every day to show up for work and do the right thing for the right reason. And that's why people do things. That's why they do. I appreciate your vote. I appreciate your time. And if you could vote for Jimmy Dunn, I sure would appreciate it. Thank you.
And then, Mr.
Yeah.
Jennifer, if you
Yeah.
wanted to stay at the
Yeah.
podium, then
Yeah.
she'll go ahead and pull the question.
Okay.
Mr. Dunn, the first question is, do you believe that human trafficking is a problem in the 4th Judicial District? And if so, what can be done to stop this horrible illegal act?
it is a problem in the 4th Judicial District. Human trafficking is a problem all across the United States. Grows more and more, I think, with social media has increased the opportunities for this. So what we do is that we educate our folks about to look for clues. We not only educate our folks to do that, and then we indulge in investigations from all parts of law enforcement and from the prosecution side, depending on whether or not it's city, county, state, or federal government, because some of these things run across state lines and county lines. But in the 4th Judicial District, we have good law enforcement officers that work on these cases every day, and we pursue the cases and prosecute the cases.
Second question.
What are the personal standards that a district attorney general should employ?
Say that again.
Sorry, sir. What are the personal standards that a district attorney general should employ?
Oh. That's the good part. The duties and responsibilities of the district attorney general is set out in statute, in criminal rules, and in case law. It's also set out in United States Supreme Court cases, which tells us what to do. And it tells us in Fout v. State, which is an 1816 Tennessee Supreme Court case, it set out the responsibilities. Also followed through over 100 years later in 1935 in Berger versus United States, where it sets out that the district attorney general is not a lawyer of an ordinary controversy, but he is yet a judge between the government and the people, and is to safeguard the rights of one and the other. What it does say that we are allowed, the district attorney is allowed to strike hard blows, and he should, but he's not allowed to strike foul blows, which he should not. And that's very clear. That's very clear to prosecutors, such as I have been this in 30 plus years, been doing this for 31 plus years, is that we have to do the right thing for the right reason every day. So we look at, we're not to seek convictions for, say, we got the X amount of numbers of convictions. We're to seek a conviction if the person is guilty, but we have to protect the rights of the innocent as well. So that's how the courts see it, and that's how Jimmy Dunn sees it.
General Dunn, this is your third and final question. Do you support the death penalty?
Is that it?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Of course. Of course I support the death penalty. I support every law that is passed by our legislators. They go down here, you elect people from Jefferson County, Tennessee, to go down and represent you in the legislature. And they pass laws. And they don't say, Jimmy, you can prosecute whatever law you want to, but if you don't like it, you don't have to. No, it doesn't say that at all. That's the law. As long as it's the law in the state of Tennessee, I will follow that law. In fact, we have at least one person that's been on death row now for 31 years, perhaps 31 years. So the death penalty is not immediate. Sometimes it never takes place, but the death penalty is the law, and I will support every law that is passed by the legislature and signed by our governor in the state of Tennessee.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen, done. Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna move right into county offices who are unopposed. The county offices that are unopposed, do we have any of those candidates here? I see Ed Steiner right there. All right, if you guys would like to stand, Ed, we'll start with you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ed Steiner. I'm your Register of Deeds. It's been an absolute pleasure to serve you the last several years. I'm very proud of the Register of Deeds office. I've mentioned before we've never had a finding, and that's a real good thing to not have in there. But I can't do without a great staff, and I've got a wonderful staff. My staff work very hard for you. Debbie Estes, our Chief Deputy in the Register of Deeds office. Linda Ramsey has been there for the longest. She's a great asset to the office. Elizabeth Griffin is there, and Lisa Patterson. That's our staff of the Register of Deeds office. I really appreciate your vote. I appreciate the time that you're allowing me to be here. I thank you for coming out to this tonight because it's very important. Appreciate you in the post. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Steiner. And any others? I see Rebecca Lee right there. Come on up.
Is this the appropriate time? Hello, I'm Rebecca Lee, and I am the public defender. I live here in Jefferson County, and I actually serve Jefferson, Cobb, Granger, and Sevier counties. I'm actually the only person here that you don't want to meet in my official capacity. However, I am very blessed and honored to fulfill the right to counsel that is guaranteed by our United States Constitution. And I'm unopposed, but I really would love and appreciate your support and your vote. God bless Jefferson County, and God bless the United States.
Thank you, Counselor. Do we have any others? I know Mayor Mark Potts is here, and Sheriff Coffey's here. Frank's here. Hey, Jim. Okay. All right. Come on up. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jim Snodgrass, represent District 3 in White Pine. I'll be coming up for a second term here. Just finished the first 2 years. I started in the middle of the term in a runoff when one of the previous commissioners vacated. I'm from White Pine, grew up there on a mixture of beef, tobacco, and dairy farm. Graduated from Jeff County, graduated from University of Tennessee with food science degree. Actually see one of my classmates over here tonight. And but anyway, I got in, raised my hand a couple years ago just to have a chance to make a difference and have a voice in the future of Jefferson County, and I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I kind of pulled him up out of order. Sorry about that, but hey, you're finished now. That's good. All right. Thank you. Frank, would you like to come up?
Good evening. Stood here 8 years ago, nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof before my first election, first debate. And I'm happy to report after 8 years, I stand here tonight nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. Unopposed this term, but still would greatly appreciate your vote and support. Honored and pleased to serve you, the citizens of Jefferson County. And as I always say, if you have a compliment about our office, I would love for you to share it with me. But if you have a complaint about our office, I would love for you to share that with me so we can improve. And if I could go off script just 1 second. Talked to Brother Kevin Poe tonight, our circuit court clerk, and he's not able to be here due to some medical reasons, unable to attend tonight, but I would like to lift him up in prayer. If y'all could join me in prayer just 1 second as we lift him up. Father God, I come to you right now and I lift up Brother Kevin Poe, our circuit court clerk. Father, you're the great physician and you know the needs of him and his family, Lord. We just, we love you and we praise you. We pray that your healing hand be upon him. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Frank Herndon, Jefferson County Clerk, appreciate your vote and support.
Thank you, Frank. Sheriff Coffey?
Well, I'd like to start out by thanking the Post for having this debate, just like, I guess, bringing back memories like Frank said 4 years ago. We was standing here in a debate. It ain't 8, it was 4, but my name is Jeff Coffey. I'm running for sheriff. Of course, I'm unopposed, but, 42 months ago is when I took office, and I promised the citizens there we would do everything that we could to keep the citizens safe, and we'd go after drug dealers. And we're still doing that 42 months later. As me and my wife was fixing to leave home, the deputies called. They got a large shipment of heroin and meth that was coming into our county to poison our people. But we're not going to stop, and I appreciate your help and support in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Okay, and Mayor Potts?
In the spirit of brevity, we can let my opening comments and prayer be my comments. I would appreciate your support. I'm unopposed. I'll have opposition in general, but thank you for your support. I'll have your prayers as we work together in the county. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Okay, and so any others? I don't want to lose. Oh, no, that's the county commission. We'll come to county commission shortly. Yeah. Okay, we'll go right into the trustee debate. All right, yeah, can I, would the candidates come on up? I'm gonna leave these here. Yeah, I think probably the most fair way to do it, to decide who goes first, since there's 2 contested, is with a coin toss. So who wants to call? Let's go ahead. Heads it is.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Bowling Hall. I am your county trustee. I have dedicated the last 13 years to the trustee's office. I have an awesome staff, and one of them are here tonight. And we have operated an honest, efficient, and dependable trustee's office. We are prepared to continue doing that. I would like to ask for your vote and support. Thank you so much.
First question. And you'll have 2 minutes on this end. Timers, if you'll. Well, he'll have the 1 minute on the front of his first question. Sorry. No, you're good. Timers, if you'll give me 2 minutes.
Okay, the first question is, paying taxes can be a stressful process. What do you propose to make the trustee office a citizen-friendly office?
Well, first of all, we are friendly to all citizens that come in the office. You can pay taxes at local banks. There are many local banks that you can pay at. You do not have to travel to Dandridge to pay taxes if you do not live in Dandridge. You can pay online. You can pay by phone. You can mail that in. We also, just this past year, have got a drop box on the back porch for after hours.
Sit down If you'll take the first minute, introduce yourself, and then you have 2 minutes for that question.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Michael Fagan. I'm running for county trustee. I appreciate all of you being here. I want to thank our host, Jefferson County Post, and Mayor Jacobs for moderating. I was raised in Jefferson County. Like most folks at that time, we lived on a small farm, had a small family business, and I had a parent who worked in a factory. Growing up in that environment, working in that family business, which I worked in from the time I was 8 until I graduated Jefferson County High School and went into the military. But working in that environment, living in that environment, I was had instilled in me certain values like serve others the way you'd like to be served, and don't just stand there, do something. In other words, be proactive. As I mentioned, I was in the military, and when I got out of the military, after spending some time around the world, I beat a path back to East Tennessee because I realized this was the place to be. And then do I go into the question now? Okay.
Yes, sir. It's the same question. I'll repeat it, sir. So the question is, paying taxes can be a stressful process. What do you propose to make the trustee's office a citizen-friendly office?
One thing that I would propose that I've been looking into, speaking of being proactive, as I looked around the county, I noticed that it's reported in the paper that we have a satellite county clerk's office that's over in Jefferson City at Walmart. So I went over and checked out that facility, and it appears to me that there's an opportunity there for us to also have a satellite operation for the trustee's office. The county clerk's office has already experienced 20 going on 30% of their transactions being handled there. And so that would be an opportunity for citizens on that side of the county to have less burden in trying to pay their taxes. Plus it would take volume off of the central location during high volume times. So as far as paying taxes and easing that burden, that would be a suggestion that I would make, because those folks that live in Talbot and Jefferson City, New Market, and Strong could then utilize that facility while they're making a trip each week to Walmart, which a lot of people seem to do.
Yeah, the next question, the second question will go to Ms. Hall.
First of all, I would like to comment on that one, because in order to move to a satellite office, I would have to hire another full-time employee. And also, a lot of the times, when you come in to pay taxes, there's back taxes owed. And then that office is in this courthouse. So that is why I decided not to do that, because it would cost taxpayers dollars to hire another full-time employee. That was to that.
You'll actually have a rebuttal on that.
Mr. Fagan, do you have a rebuttal for that?
Whether or not you would need to hire another employee would be a matter of evaluation that would be necessary. I don't know that you would have to, because I know they do the same thing in Hawkins County, and they have the same number of staff that we have here, and they have a satellite operation, and they operate their office, their main office with 3, and then they have 1 person at their satellite operation.
The second question is, what experience do you have with investing public funds?
All right, like I said, I've dedicated 13 years of my life to the trustee's office. For the past 4 years, I have served as trustee. I know that is the most important thing about public funds is making sure it's secured. And in our office, right now, we have 17 between bank accounts and investment accounts that we balance each month, and those have always balanced to the penny.
Mr. Fagan, same question, I'll repeat it. What experience do you have with investing public funds?
My experience has been with managing public funds and auditing public funds. I was an auditor with the Inspector General's office in Oak Ridge, and then was a senior accountant with the Oak Ridge Financial Service Center for several years, for over a decade. So directly involved with public funds has been auditing and accounting. But with regard to investing idle funds, that's an interesting topic. That's one of the primary duties of the trustee. And I'd like to speak to that because it's interesting. Those funds are your funds, and they're invested for your benefit. But do you know where they're invested at? Do you know how much return you're getting? If you had money at a bank or Edward Jones invested, would you expect to get a statement regularly that would tell you how your money's doing and where it's at? I think that's part of open and transparent government, and that's something that I would propose that be done through the trustee's office. Provide easily accessible, readily available information on a regular basis so that you, the owners of those funds, know how they've been invested and what sort of return you're getting. I think the office needs to be more directly engaged with constituents in that regard so that you have the information you need to hold the office accountable. Thank
you. And again, I would like to announce that we did earn over $1.6 million in interest for the county over the past 4 years. This has been through a pandemic and interest rates steadily falling, and that is public information if anybody ever wants it.
I guess my point here is, should you have to ask for it? Do you have to ask your bank or your investment company for a report as to how your investments are performing, or where they're at, or what they're invested in? So I think that information and being proactive, the office should provide that information to the citizens so they have it readily available when they want it and need it in order to perform your duty, which is to hold your elected officials accountable.
Ms. Hall, this is the final question. Should fee offices, which typically have more latitude in hiring, be allowed to hire employees that have been terminated with cause from other county offices?
Well, unfortunately, that's not something that no, I have come across that. And yes, I have hired an employee that was terminated. No, I did not. Actually, the trustee before me hired her. I came into this office as trustee in 2018 with an employee that had been there less than a year and an employee that had been hired in there 2 months before I took office, and an employee that had been there for 12 years.
The question is, should fee offices, which typically have more latitude in hiring, be allowed to hire employees that have been terminated with cause from other county offices?
I won't speak to fee offices in total, but with regard to the trustee's office and the enormous importance of the job that they do and the access to funds that they have, I do not believe that someone who's been terminated with cause should be hired in that office.
Well, thank you both. Good luck.
Thank you both. Okay, let's see. Now we're going to move into county commission unopposed. If you're running for a county commission spot, and I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun and pulled you up here a little bit earlier. So if you're running for an unopposed position, if you would come up, introduce yourself, and you'll have a minute, and then I was going to say, I know we have one or two.
You know, one of the greatest things is to look out and see American citizens exercising their right to come in and discuss what's happening within our county government, our state government, federal government. I think that's something so important. And before I forget, my brother Vietnam veterans, welcome home. I appreciate you. I've served almost 4 years as a county commissioner for District 10. I'm not sure if anybody here is from District 10, but I would say thank you very much. Whatever you do, it's always an honor to serve, and I take serving seriously. Not only do I concern myself about the citizens in the 10th district, but also throughout the county. I always ask myself the question before I vote, how will it affect the majority of the citizens of Jefferson County? When I ran for office, I said I was not trying to build a kingdom. I'm not a good old boy. I've lived here for almost 22, 24 years, right out of the Marine Corps, retired lieutenant colonel. And I appreciate being able to serve. Vote, vote. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, vote. Thank you.
My name is Austin Brooks. I'll be running for County Commissioner in District 3. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I look forward to serving District 3 and all of Jefferson County.
Okay, any other county commissioners who are running unopposed? Okay, we'll move into the contested spots, and we're gonna take these, you know, we have 10 districts. So District 1, would you guys come up, ladies and guys? And if you would, just have a seat. If there's two of you, one on both sides, or however you want to do that, whatever's more comfortable. And, all right, there's 3. So we're going to go by ballot in the order. Let me figure out how we're doing this. Okay, how do you appear on the ballot?
Does that mean I get to go first?
You're on. Yeah. And you are. Okay. And remember, you have a minute on the front end to tell everybody who you are, and then you have 2 minutes to answer the question. So.
Okay.
All right.
So I go first.
So if I could, if you will take the mic, and
Can they hear me if I just?
probably not. Probably not.
I would like to thank the Post, all of you for being here. My name is Katie Fox Huffaker, and I'm seeking re-election as a county commissioner in District 1. I've served 2 terms already. From Dandridge, I went to the high school, graduated from UT with a biology degree, and I have an analytical work history background. I believe in quality education, want good roads and public services for our citizens. I believe and have faith that there's a way to provide progress and economic growth while keeping the essence of Jefferson County intact. I am conservative, ethical, responsible, and use common sense when making decisions. I would proudly continue to serve the citizens of the 1st District if given the opportunity, and I'm asking for your vote and support in the Republican primary.
Now, those questions will come back into the bowl.
After this.
After District 1, all those questions come back into the bowl. They'll be churned again and then pulled from.
So Commissioner Fox Huffaker, the first question is, should there be a county policy that addresses the hiring of former employees that have been terminated from another county department?
Well, you didn't say with just cause, so I'm not sure why they were terminated. I think it would have to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. We have an ethics committee that it could go before, and they could provide input. And I think it would be based on the department head, the mayor, the ethics committee, and the situation.
And second will be, McCoy. And if something happens with that, these are battery powered, so if something happens, the green light goes off on you, just stop in and let me know and we'll swap it out for another mic.
Okay.
We have 21 of them over here that are charged up.
Okay. I'm Janet Norton. I'm here to run for County Commission, District 1. I appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight and to speak to everyone. I am a mother of 6, adoptive mother of 3. I'm a school teacher, and I've worked with the foster care system here on the board of directors for CASA Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and I want to run for County Commission. My goal is to meet everyone that I can, to speak with everyone that I can, and find out what it is that concerns you, what affects you, and if you don't share that with me, I can't know. I want to make sure that I make informed decisions, and I will fact check those to make sure that it's not just hearsay, but that they're true. I appreciate the opportunity to come here tonight, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Ms. Norton, the first question is, should there be a county policy that addresses the hiring of former employees that have been terminated from another county department?
I would think that there would need to be a background check on anybody and everybody. I know as a school teacher, I have to have a background check. You want to make sure you know who you're hiring. If there's not already a committee, then certainly there needs to be one. And I think you need to know what the situation was. It depends on what happened.
Thank you.
Is that all?
My name is Jill Hodge Overholt. I'm running for County Commission, the 1st District. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and I've retired after a 35-year career as a clinical dietitian with the Tenova Health System in Newport. I grew up here in Dandridge, graduated from Maury High School, and I later graduated from the University of Tennessee. I moved back here 12 years ago, but while I was away, Jefferson County always was in my heart as home. My father, Frank Hodge, always considered community service to be the utmost importance. I observed him serving on the county school board, and especially when they approved the consolidated high school, and he served 30 years on the Appalachian Electric Cooperative Board. He inspired me by his community service that it was my turn to serve.
Ms. Overholt, the first question is, should there be a county policy that addresses the hiring of former employees that have been terminated from another county department?
I think that, like what has been said before, I've worked for large companies. Everyone has a background check. I think that it also would be on a case-by-case basis, but we probably need a general policy that states what those things that will be done in those cases.
Thank you. Mr. Huffaker, you're up. The question to you is, and it's a two-part question, do you support relocating county offices to the area of the Justice Center? Do you have concerns that such a move would negatively impact the town of Dandridge?
Okay.
So you want me to take those one at a time? Or? So the question is, or questions, do you support relocating county offices to the area of the Justice Center? And if so, do you have concerns that such a move would negatively impact Dandridge?
Okay, so the question is, do I support relocating business, part of the county government
County offices, yeah.
offices to the Justice Center general area, not in that facility? This question has to do with the county clerk's office that's been, that we've looked into building, and it's in reference, that building would be paid for through the American Recovery Acts money or the federal, I'm not sure if I got the name exactly right, but it wouldn't be with your local taxpayers' dollars. It would be with a federal grant. So do I support moving over there using grant money? I do support it. I have supported it. I'm on the facilities committee. It passed unanimously through the facilities committee to the main committee. There will still be offices at the facility. The mayor will still be there. Tourism director probably will be there. So it's not like that business will be vacant. Second part of the question is, do I think it will pull business from Dandridge? I don't think that it will. I think that Dandridge the business is vibrant right now, and I think it will eliminate some of the traffic. It might ease some parking so more people can visit Dandridge and put their sales tax dollars into the city. So I don't think that it will negatively impact Dandridge.
Thank you. Ms. Norton, question to you.
Thank you.
It is a two-part question.
Okay.
Do you support relocating county offices to the area of the Justice Center? And if so, do you have concerns that such a move would negatively impact the town of Dandridge?
Okay. So my first thought is, what is the most cost-efficient thing to do? Katie mentioned that there's grant money coming in that would pay for that. My question to that is, how long does that grant money last? I know grants don't always last forever. Is that a continuing payment that's taken care of from now on, or is it something that's going to go away over a certain amount of time? Taking away business from Dandridge, I would need to do more research on that. I don't know how much business is pulled here by people coming downtown to the offices. And I live here, so I know that I'm down here frequently because I have to go through town. But it may pull in some people from outside that wouldn't normally be in Dandridge. So I'll have to do a little more research on that.
Thank you. Ms. Overholt? So the question is, do you support relocating county offices to the area of the Justice Center? And if so, do you have concerns that such a move would negatively impact the town of Dandridge?
Well, I'm not all that familiar with this particular case. I have read in the paper about the vote that they have had for it. If I was going to make a decision, I would want to do a little bit more research and make an informed decision about this. I do think, depending on which offices were moved, it might cause quite a bit of confusion at first, and ultimately it might be inconvenient for some people to not exactly know which office is. And as far as the impact on Dandridge, I do think Dandridge is vibrant and historic, and it has a draw besides just the county business.
Thank you.
Can I say?
Yeah, and she has an option as well.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to say something for clarity, I guess. This facility will be 100% funded by grant money. And the reason why is during COVID, the election commission was running elections during COVID at the same time the health department's there. And so that's why we qualify for this funding. It has to do with the health department and elections commission's offices.
And this will be the last question. Commissioner Fox.
Oh, sorry.
Fox Huffaker, sorry about that.
Look at me.
This is a long question.
Okay.
With Jefferson County's rapidly growing population, the need for and cost of basic services such as fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement will likely increase. Would you support a property tax increase to pay for the increased cost of services? If not, what policy would you adopt for Jefferson County to cope with any potential budget shortfall?
Okay. our growth rate is rapid, and several citizens have expressed concern. It could overwhelm or be harmful to the roads, EMS, and police, as well as other public services, but we don't know yet what it will do. Housing brings in property tax. Jefferson County is a great place to live, and we need to try to maintain its beauty and integrity. Budget shortfalls. We've had a balanced budget for the last several years. So our revenue and our expenditures are about equal. Every year for the last several years, we've been able to do capital projects using cash. So our expenditures are about equal to our revenue. We may be off $100,000, $200,000 at the end, and we might have to borrow from our fund balance to get to our rollover. With our rollover the last several years, we've been able to put $1 million aside for ADA, $1.5 million 1 year for renovations at the school building next door. We used $1 million for White Pine renovation. So we've been having extra money each year because we have been conservative, we've been responsible, we've been doing a good job with our budgeting. So hopefully if we do have a need, maybe we can have money already there. I don't know what's going to be the future as far as our budgets, and we always try to be proactive and conservative. I know that the budget committee will continue to be that way, and we'll just have to see what the future holds, but I hope that we can maintain the small town feel that everybody lives in.
Thank you. Ms. Norton?
Yes.
The question is, with Jefferson County's rapidly growing population, the need for and cost of basic services such as fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement will likely increase. Would you support a property tax increase to pay for that increased cost of services? And if not, what policy would you adopt for Jefferson County to cope with any potential budget shortfalls?
Okay, so Jefferson County is growing. We have a lot of people that want to come here. This is a beautiful place to live. It is God's country. We do enjoy the beautiful green grass and long fields and cattle, and it's gorgeous, the mountains and the lakes. So we are a very desirable place to be. We're also very conservative, God-loving people who, it's where everybody wants to be, okay? People who are suffering from the high taxes and the regulations are wanting to come here and be with us, and that's understandable. We have not had a good long-range plan going on for quite some time in County Commission. The schools have not been funded to the point where teachers don't have to buy their own supplies. The classrooms are overcrowded. We have guidance counselors and different people who are on a cart going from classroom to classroom. So we were already in trouble before, and we need a long-range plan. If at all possible, we do not want to raise taxes. You never want to raise taxes if you don't have to. Now, being new at this, I'll have to do more research and find out what other ways we can come up with finances. Hopefully we can pull some business in here. We've tried to do that before in this county, and it was shot down. We can pull money from that. They pay our taxes. They pay into us and help us to better fund the things that we need to facilitate the schools, the police departments, EMS, all that, so city workers. So that's what I propose, and I'll be glad to hear anything that anybody has to share with me. The only ideas I have are the ones that have come to my mind. The more you share with me, the more I know, the more I'm able to check into. So I welcome you to contact me at any time. I will have an open door policy. I've passed out flyers with my cell phone number to everybody that I can get my hands on. I'll have a Facebook page and a website. And I would love to meet with you face to face anytime you want to have lunch or dinner and we can talk it over.
Thank you. Ms. Overholt, question to you. With Jefferson County's rapidly growing population, the need for and cost of basic services such as fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement will likely increase. Would you support a property tax increase to pay for the increased cost of services? If not, what policy would you adopt for Jefferson County to cope with any potential budget shortfall?
I agree that I love living here. It's a beautiful place, and many times I look with fresh eyes and think, why I bet there's not anyone who would not want to live here. And we do have a rapid growth, and the thing is, we're going to have to make a plan to control it and maybe creative in what we do. From my understanding, we did have a small tax decrease this year, and yet we do have some surpluses. And as we do sell property, there's some taxes that go to help fund the county. As far as the shortfall, I mean, I'm no politician, but I'm not going to say I want to raise taxes. But I think we can find the creative ways to deal as we do have this rapid growth. I don't have all the information some of the people have, and so I would need to get up to speed on some of the information on the ways we could cover these services.
Thank you, ma'am. That was the final question, so thank you all and good luck.
Okay, all right, we're going to move into District 2, County Commission. Yeah, she called me. How you doing?
How you doing?
All right, let's see, Rick and Joe Coleman, and then Laura, how do you say her last name? Mallet, okay. Laura Mallet would have been here today, but she had just gotten back from a trip out of town and was diagnosed with COVID. So we'll keep our prayers open for her. And, but that's why she's not here tonight, so. All right, see, in the order, we're gonna just go with the order of the sample ballot. Joe first, Joe Coleman first, Rick Moore second, and then is Jimmy Dale here?
Jimmy Dale's not able to make it tonight.
Okay, all right. All right, and we'll go, Joe, if you want to do the introduction, you'll have 1 minute to tell them who you are, and then you've got 2 minutes on the first question.
I'm Joe Coleman. I'm a security here at the courthouse through the week, 8 hours a day. I live in Dandridge on Morey Road. I'm running for commissioner in the 2nd Civil District. I've been a pastor over 3 churches over the last 50 years. I've been with the Sheriff's Department now under Jeff Coffey since he started. I built houses up into '08 until the housing market went bad. And I'd like to be your commissioner in the 2nd District again. I've never been in politics before, but this time I'm running for commissioner 2nd District, and I'd like you to consider me in this. And the best credentials I know of to explain to you is I've never been in politics. And somebody was talking about a long-range vision a while ago. I got a long-range vision one time when I was in the military, when I was in sniper training. That was the longest vision I ever had. But today, I have got a long-range vision for Jefferson County. I've still got 2 grandchildren in school. I might never see this come to pass, but I believe that the direction we're headed as the population.
Mr. Coleman, here's the first question, please, sir. This question is, the issue of a slaughterhouse proposal has brought to light zoning laws. How do you plan to balance property owner rights with community impact? And would you support establishing county-owned property that can answer agricultural and commercial needs while limiting community impact?
Somebody's already made that statement tonight. It's a controversy. because I listen a lot of times when I'm over here for security at night with the commission. There's a controversy about whether we ought to build more houses or we ought to try to get industry. I believe that there should be a rezoning in the county and put commercial zoning in places where the people can build and jobs can come in. Over half the people that's employed in Jefferson County works for Jefferson County. The other less than half goes to Knox County, they go to Sevier County, or they go to Hamlin County to work. If they had jobs, they'd have a tax base right here, wouldn't they? They'd pay taxes here. Most people that goes out of county to work, they'll spend their money out of county. I don't think it makes good policy for us to keep on building houses when one of these days we wake up and we look to the north, we look to the south, we took the east, and we'll look to the west, and the only thing we'll see will look like a military training camp. If we don't wake up in Jefferson County and start looking forward to getting industry in Jefferson County to help our tax base, we'll run up again that thing like we did in '08 when I was building houses, and the housing went boom and everything fell apart.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You have a minute to introduce yourself and I'll ask the question.
Thank you. Well, good evening. My name is Rick Moore. Appreciate the County Post putting this together and all of y'all being here this evening. I am a native of Shady Grove. I went to UT because of a guy named Peyton, and after school I chose to stay here. In early March of this year, I was appointed by the commission to finish out a term for County Commission, and I'm running here in the May primary and would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
The first question is, the issue of a slaughterhouse proposal has brought to light zoning issues. How do you plan to balance property owner rights with community impact? And would you support establishing county-owned property that can answer agricultural and commercial needs while limiting community impact?
Thank you. So property rights, an individual's rights go to where their deed ends. And so if things are followed through according to the existing zoning laws, go ahead and build a slaughterhouse. We need to increase the tax base. The individuals that were involved in that business have gone on ahead and purchased interest in a slaughterhouse up in Greene County. And so in that circumstance, you would say, okay, hey, we've got folks making a 30-minute drive to go buy a certain grade of beef or any other product. Greene County is going to receive that tax revenue when we could have had it here. To the question to having county-owned space, no, I would not be in favor of that. The reason for that is efficiencies are not great inside of government, number one. Number two, if somebody's going to put their own dollar into a venture and risk it, they're going to be more responsible. So I would not support county-owned facilities or ground space.
Say two candidates, we have some water up here for you, so if you'd like one, just grab one.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman, the second question is, currently the county has several $1 million in a reserve fund from the hospital lease payments. Would you support using a portion of those funds for improvements needed in the county, such as public recreation to improve overall health and livability of children and adults?
No.
Good answer.
We've got many other needs besides worrying about recreation right now. We've got wars around the world. We've got drugs invading our counties. We've got all kinds of chaos going around us. We need to support schools more than we do anything else. And I would not support taking what reserve that Jefferson County's got and then turn around and have to raise your taxes. I don't believe it's good policy. Don't believe the people want that.
sir. Mr. Moore? Question is, currently the county has several $1 million in a reserve fund from the hospital lease payments. Would you support using a portion of those funds for improvements needed in the county, such as public recreation, to improve overall health and livability of children and adults?
Well, with the monies currently received from the hospital, it's split between the county and Jefferson City. There's a covenant with that money that X dollar amount needs to be in place. Once there are funds in and over that threshold, I think it's $12 million, then the county has the ability to use that for other purposes. But until we meet that covenant, no, you don't touch it. The parliamentary tricks to access that money are arduous for a reason. Once we cross that $12 million threshold, that surplus funds, I would look to use those for debt servicing as opposed to moving funds towards another area. And the reason for that is we're always going to have, quote, pressing need from each and every entity inside the county. And with these funds, once we cross that $12 million threshold, let's use that to pay down existing debt, number one. Number two, that gets us in a position where when we do capital campaigns, we're able to pay X amount of cash up front. That keeps us from going into a further debt scenario where, again, there's always going to be the next thing that comes up. We're not jeopardizing your credit rating. If we drop into the credit rating profile, interest goes up, et cetera. So again, till that threshold's met, no, don't touch it. And afterwards, use that to pay off existing debt.
Thank you. This is the final question. Mr. Coleman, with Jefferson County's rapidly growing population, the need for and the cost of basic services such as fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement will likely increase. Would you support a property tax increase to pay for this increased cost of these services? If not, what policy would you adopt for Jefferson County to cope with any potential budget shortfall?
For our needs for the protection of the citizens of Jefferson County, it may be necessary to raise taxes. But that would be a necessity. That wouldn't be something that we could do without. We can't do without our fire. We can't do without our police. We can't do without our medics. These people has to operate. And things like that, that needs to be a priority over anything else. If we have to spend money on that, if we have to raise taxes, then so be it. But other than that, the things that are not necessary, let's not throw the money at the wall and see where it sticks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moore, with Jefferson County's rapidly growing population, the need for and the cost of basic services such as fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement will likely increase. Would you support a property tax increase to pay for the increased cost of these services? If not, what policy would you adopt for Jefferson County to cope with any potential budget shortfall?
If we look at current county budget before adjustments for state mandated pay raises and adjustments for increase of something like fuel, we had a $115 million county budget. And we'll say we're an approximate 56,000 people in the county. That means $2,000 per person goes towards that budget. Looking forward in the future, I think 2021 is when we did property appraisals, so we're not slated for property reappraisals until 2026. In X many years, and we look at housing values right now by proxy, the appraisals are higher, the taxes will be higher when you keep the current rate in place, one. Two, we look at current sales tax revenue that's coming through the county. We're beginning to normalize. There was a large bump in 2021 with how the state measured online sales, and so that was we'll say a slight windfall for the county in regard to that. But we're at a point now, county sales tax revenue, I think, is in the neighborhood of 5 to 6% growth year over year. With the influx of people coming in, realizing that school is the majority of the expense on the county, things like emergency services, road, etc., I think there would be enough revenues offsetting coming in. We don't have that potential to happen. Again, it's the influx of people coming in. East Tennessee was not hit as hard as in 2008, 2009 as other parts of the country. And again, we did have a small influx of people. So we're in that current circumstance now. So in regards to the question, would I look to raise property taxes? No, I would not.
Thank you, and good luck to both.
Gentlemen, thank you. And let's see. Yeah. Oh. How's that? Anybody? Okay. Yeah, candidates, you may have to like hold this up a little bit closer. I don't think it extends. Michael, it doesn't extend, does it? Okay. So, I'm too far away from it. If I get down close, but that hurts for us. Okay, District 4. And that is, let's see. Yeah, District 3 is actually unopposed on all three. It's Austin Brooks, Paul Lowe, and Jim Snodgrass. So I think everybody's already had an opportunity. And so District 4 is Greg Bird, John Johnson, and William Bill Webb. And then long, short.
Short, long.
Short, long. Okay, I knew I was going to mess that up before it was over. All right. And okay. Yeah, if you could just pick it up, hold it like a hand mic. All right. And let's see. In the order. Okay, Greg's not here. Okay. So John Johnson is first on the ballot, then Mr. Webb, and then you. All right. And yeah, then you know you have 1 minute to introduce and then right. Oh, we're gonna swap out. All right, thank you. Let's try that.
Good evening. My name is John Johnson. I'm from Jefferson City, Tennessee. I've been in Tennessee about 25 years. I'll start again. My name is John Johnson. I'm the city manager at Jefferson City, Tennessee. I've been in that job for almost 25 years. I've been doing city government for approximately 35 years as city manager in Pikeville, Kentucky, and been here for 24 plus years. I've been in government. I've seen the tax side, the revenue side, the expense side, the needs of service that the citizens demand and want. As we go forward, we need to look at the projects that we're doing for the citizens. You know, our greatest resource in this county is not the buildings, not the roads, it's you people. It's the children of this county, it's the adults, it's the citizens are our greatest assets and our greatest resources. So we need to keep going and keep building this county. This county, from an outside perspective of myself, not a native of Jefferson County, Tennessee, is that this county is a diamond in the rough, ready to be polished.
Ms. Johnson, you can take the first question, please. I'm sorry. For the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected superintendents, if enacted.
Microphone's off.
It is.
And I was about to remind them to speak into the mic. All right, let me repeat the whole thing, my apologies. For the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. If you become a county commissioner or are re-elected, and this issue comes before you, will you vote to allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
That's probably not a good question for me because I have no children. But I have heard both sides of that question. I've heard the desire to elect the superintendent and also not to elect the superintendent. It creates another political person that's working with a board that approves their finances and should be their overseer. And when we take that person away from that position, I don't know that it works well. It used to be elected positions, and for whatever reason, they changed that in Tennessee several years ago. So I would study that issue diligently. I'm probably sound like I'm waffling on that question because I don't know all the answers, but I would certainly seek the public input to that decision.
Seems like you and I work together, don't we? I appreciate you all being here. And I want to, before I forget it, you know, when you get my age and y'all got a long ways to go, you got to remember one thing. I need your help in making this county better. Let me tell you a little bit about myself right quick. I spent 32 years in the Army, served in 7 combat units. I was the boss over most of them. They was good, but we got different things going on. I love Jefferson City. I moved here in Jefferson City. I was over Army recruiting in Morristown and all the areas. I was in here for 3 years in 1972. And then I went to Europe, and I remembered this place. I said, I love Jefferson City. So my wife and I, we have 28 grandkids, a lot of them. We love this community. We love the mountains, and we want to stay and do the best we can. That means that I'm going to do everything I can for this county. I have the experience in elected official. I have 8 years as elected official in another state, Virginia. I don't want to say that, but Virginia. And we didn't have such a good things, but now we're going to make it better with what it is here. Thank you. I want to ask you to vote for me before I forget that. That's the most important part. Vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. And thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We need to answer, or ask the question here, sir. So for the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. If you become a county commissioner or are re-elected and this issue comes before you, will you vote to allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
That's a good question because I appointed school board members and elected officials. And I don't particularly like elected official of the chairman of a school board or anything. I don't like that. I like what we need to do is, if it's back to where I was at, we appointed the elected officials. Now, I had a lot of different things about what's best, what's not best. My personal opinion, I'm only giving you my personal opinion. I got a lot of them now. I love the people is appointed by the commissioners as a school board. That's the way I stand about it. Now, somebody might have a different opinion, but I have the experience that knows why you should have the elected officials appointing the school board members and the superintendent of schools. And I'm for appointing and not elected.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, I'm in short. The mic is right here. I don't have a problem that a few of the tall people have. I'm Jessica Short Long. Yes, short hyphen long. That should be easy to remember. I was a short. I married a long. I want to thank my family for coming out to support me. My husband and I are physics professors, so we are nerds. Now, when I moved to Tennessee in 2018, I knew that I wanted to be rural. I like living rural, and I want the best for this community. And since my son is in the public school, I want the best for our children. And that comes with the money. Yes. So please support me for commissioner.
Ms. Shortlong, this is the first question. For the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. If you become a county commissioner or are reelected and this issue comes before you, will you vote to allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
I can see two sides of us. As a parent, I can see wanting to have a say in who's overseeing the schools. Parents want that. But also as an educator, I don't like it when politics get involved in education. So if you have some distance from that, that's good. However, I would want to know what people actually think. What do the citizens of the county think? My initial thought is to keep it appointed, but I'm open to hearing opposing points of view. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question to Mr. Johnson, please. Considering that the county's contribution to the Chamber of Commerce has been cut over the past few budget cycles, do you feel like the county is getting enough bang for its buck from the Chamber?
I think the chamber has been in a bad position for the last few years and needs to be some changes. I don't think the county probably did get its bang for the buck out of the chamber for a few years. I think it's on its way to being corrected. I deal with the interim director. I deal with the chamber on different issues on a daily basis or almost a daily basis. I think that it's important that this county continue to have a strong presence in the Chamber of Commerce. That is an important organization in this county. It can do the things that cities and the county cannot do itself. It can be in places that we are not in, but it's very important for us to hold the chamber accountable set the goals. If this board continues to use the chamber, or this county continues to use the chamber to set the goals and set the matrix that the chamber has to follow and produce the results. But I think it is certainly important that this community and this county continue to support the chamber in a strong fashion.
Thank you. Mr. Webb, the question is, considering that the county's contribution to the Chamber of Commerce has been cut over the past few budget cycles, do you feel like the county is getting enough bang for its buck from the chamber?
Thank you. I was a president of the Chamber of Commerce as an elected official. We need the Chamber of Commerce for different things, but I go a different route on the Chamber of Commerce because if I'm a member of a chamber and I had all the people with me, we'd get out and we'd do fundraisers and everything else and get the money that we need to do to keep the people going the way they should be. Chamber is not, and I'm a job producing person. I spent 25 years in the United States Department of Labor bringing in industry to the communities, and I got a lot of experience in that. I love the chamber, but they're in a different ball game. You got to have experience if you want to make it happen. I love to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I was. But let's get back to giving them the things to do, work with the communities, get volunteers, and I got a lot of ideas. I think I talked to Ed 5 years ago when I came into this community. We can get people to volunteer for the chamber that knows what they're doing and put them to work as a volunteer. And I'll be the first one to volunteer, and I guarantee you I can make the chamber work for the city, the county, and anyone, because I have produced jobs, I have produced people that make that happen. So, again, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shortlaw, the question is, considering that the county's contribution to the Chamber of Commerce has been cut over the past few budget cycles, do you feel like the county is getting enough bang for its buck from the chamber?
Okay, the first thing I would do want to evaluate is what's going on. Why have there been cuts? What is it the chamber giving back to the community? The Chamber of Commerce can be an essential part of a thriving community. I want to see goals. I want to see exactly what the long-term plan is before making any decision. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the final question. Mr. Johnson, please. Would you propose, if elected, to build a better working relationship with the school board?
Certainly. That is probably one of the most important things that the county commission does, and it's one of the most important things the local school board does. We have the most important resource this county has in its children. And for far too long, petty politics has gotten in the way of looking to the children's needs. We need to sit down. There's no problem that's insurmountable that can't be worked out between good-willed people. If you're elected for the right reason to serve this county, you need to be able to sit down and face the people around the table that you work with, as well as the school board, and go through the issues and come up with the solutions to the problem. It's sad. You know, probably the main reason that I'm running, when I moved here 25 years ago, the same issues were going on 25 years ago as they are today. They were fussing and fighting about building, remodeling, or building the high school. same problems. It goes on constantly. If we can't provide and take care of our children, then we need to reevaluate what we're here about to do. This is a servant position. I don't even know if this job pays, don't care if it pays, don't want it to pay. I'm here to serve the citizens of this county. And I'm here to serve Jefferson City, 4th District, for having a fair and equitable position at the table with the county commission. I think everybody running for a county commission seat ought to be, like President Trump says, our district first, but we have to work together for the citizens and the children in this county. And I appreciate your vote and support.
Thank you. Mr. Webb, same question. What would you propose, if elected, to build a better working relationship with the school board?
We need a great working with the school boards, because that's for our kids. That has to have the best teachers, the best leaders, and the things that they need to grow and become a great citizen a year long, but we need a good school board. And again, the school boards was appointed by people like doctors, lawyers, people with kids that had a buy-in. I still believe that that's the best way to go, is appoint the school board members from the elected officials, if you pick the right person in the job. That's what I believe.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Short-Long, the question is, what would you propose, if elected, to build a better working relationship with the school board?
Okay, as I said in my introduction, the commission that controls that funding. We fund our schools. I have a kid in our public schools. We have to keep our schools funded. We need to keep in communication with the school board, with the teachers, figure out what they need. I mean, I know recent years our schools have had maintenance issues, and that we have to take care of that. I mean, it can affect our children's health and their learning. We need to invest in that, in the education. And working with the school board, definitely, Democrat or Republican, that should not matter. We need to communicate with the school boards, with the school administrators, with the teachers. And I really want educator input from this county. Thank you. And I appreciate your support.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Okay, so let's see, that was. We'll move into, that was District 4, we'll move into District 5. David Brooks, Sammy Solomon, and Tim Pop Seals had called me to let me know that he had bypass surgery just a short while ago, that he would not be able to be here. So, is David Brooks here? Out? Okay. And is Sammy here tonight? go into District 6. Rob Blevins, Ransom Douglas, Stuart Smith, Jennifer Wilson, and let's see, are there any others from District 6?
As you can tell, I'm not Ransom.
You're not Ransom.
I'm not Ransom.
I'm betting you're Jennifer though.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
And Skip Smith or Stuart Smith?
I don't believe he's here.
Okay. Is Rob here?
Stuart, skip this round.
There's Rob. Okay. And, okay. We'll just go in the order that's on the sample ballot. Rob Blevins, you first, Ransom Douglas second, Jennifer Wilson third. So there's just three, right?
Yes.
All right, guys. And you know how we're doing it? It's just the first minute is for introduction, then you have 2 minutes to answer the question, and then after that, it's 2 minutes on each one.
Ready? There's only a few people here from the 6th district, but you're right, we do things that affect the whole county. I'm Rob Blevins. I've been the commissioner for almost 12 years now, one of the seats in Strawberry Plains, and I'm asking for another election to go my way and keep the seat that I have, and along with one of these other candidates. But most people know who I am and where I stand on things, so we'll just get to the questions. Every time I hear that bell ring, I think I'm at the Dollar General store. When you're in the back, somebody's wanting to check down.
All right. Commissioner Blevins, the first question is, would you support a property tax increase to fund new schools?
No, not necessarily. That's a whole lot to that question there. A whole lot. One penny right now is about $111,000, $112,000 on your property tax rate. It just depends on if we could remodel or have to build new ones. On that. That's my stance on that.
Okay. Thank you.
They're not here to hear me talk about schools, though.
Thank you. Who's next, sir? So you have a minute to introduce yourself, then I'll ask the first question.
Yes, sir. I want to appreciate everybody for letting me be here, especially my wife, my grandfather. This is my first time ever speaking in front of people, so I'm extremely nervous. I'm born and raised in Strawberry Plains, 34 years old, and I've served as a sheriff's office deputy for both Sevier and Jefferson County for the last 10 years. I serve to protect the citizens, and that's one of the reasons why I'm up here today. I'm here for the people. You know, I want to get in there. This is where I live. This is where I went to school, and I care about its growth. I appreciate your vote.
What's your name?
Ransom Douglas.
Mr. Douglas? So I'm sorry, sir, but you have, I'm gonna ask a question, you have up to 2 minutes to answer this. Okay, so the question is, would you support a property tax increase to fund new schools?
I believe that'd be a last resort, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, my stint into politics started January 20th when I picked up the petition. Like I said, I'm here for the people, so my first thing I would do is go out and speak to everybody involved and just get as informed as I can and make the right decision based on that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
So, my name is Jennifer Wilson. I've been a resident of Strawberry Plains for the past 12 years, married to your Constable Mackie Wilson for the past 16. Lord bless me. I've been a nurse for 20 years. In my 20 years of nursing, I've done multiple budgets. I've been in administrative roles. I do know how to actively listen. I listen to many of the people in the community about things that they want changed, things they want to see. And I look to bring that over to County Commission if elected. So I do ask for your support in the election. Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, the question is, would you support a property tax increase to fund new schools?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about new schools. I've listened to both sides of the debate about, do we need new schools? Do we remodel the old ones? What do we do exactly? As far as raising taxes or adding additional taxes go, I think if there's a different way to go, then there's no reason for property taxes to go up for any of the citizens in any district.
Thank you. Mr. Blevins, this question is to you, sir. Question is, should there be term limits for the county commission, and if so, what should it be?
I think we're getting ready to find out May 3rd. But no, I'm not being a smart. Like, when I first ran, I said I would like to run 2 terms and be done. And I would have liked to. We have one of the calmer districts. If you don't know what Strawberry Plains is or where it's at, nothing ever happens. There's never no trouble down there, and there's never no controversial issues. But as in this time right now, neither one of these people or Skip are bad or would do bad, I don't think. I do not think it's the right time to hand over the district to 2 freshman commissioners coming in though. And honestly, I feel like I've had the district by myself for quite a long time, for whatever reasons. But term limits are good, but I think the best barometer is the people that vote for you at the end of your first 2 terms. That's my answer for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Douglas? The question is, should there be term limits for county commission, and if so, what should it be?
I believe I believe if you're able, anybody should be able to allow to run, and ultimately it's up to the public. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I believe that it's not always a bad thing for new people to step in and play their part. As far as term limits, I'm not sure, but I mean, like I said, if you're willing to step up and serve your community, put your name on the ballot and let the people vote you in best they see fit. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson? Should there be term limits for county commission? And if so, what should it be?
So, term limits for county commission is kind of a touchy subject because you have people that have been in county commission for years. You have some that are brand new that want to continue to serve. I agree with my running mates that if someone is willing to step up and serve their community, as long as they are able to do that the best of their ability and the community agrees with what is going on and what that person stands for, let them be in there to fight for their community as long as they want to.
Thank you. And this is the final question.
That's what we all want to hear. That's the final question.
So for the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. Would you allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
Thank you, sir, and absolutely I would. I think anything of that magnitude, any group of people that controls over $80 million should answer directly to the public. And kind of like going with term limits at the state, federal level, sure. You don't go to church and school with those people, the grocery store, and see them every day, but you do us. And you do your school board, and you do your school director. And I think it should be a vetted process. There should be several applicants, and I think it shouldn't just be decided by a few people, 4 votes. That's a lot of people, a lot of budget, and a lot of kids that they're over. That's very important. And we should work well with them. I don't work well with the ones we have now, and I hope it changes. But I think we all could work better together. And I think if the director was elected by the people, that would be a much better, better way to go about it. And it was the Democrat-controlled state and Senate that put it in 1995, by the way, for somebody that didn't know earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Douglas, the question is, for the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. Would you vote to allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
I currently don't have no children. Hopefully one day, that's in God's plan, but, you know, my thought on that is the teachers, the people that's sending their kids to school, they should have a say-so in what happens. I absolutely think it's a good idea. You know, that might be subject to change. Like I said, I've not been in those schools since 2006 when I graduated, but based off the information I have now, yeah, I believe the public should be involved if they're the ones sending their kids there. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Wilson, for the past several years, the Tennessee legislature has debated the idea of permitting county governments to return to elected school superintendents. This change from appointed school directors to elected school superintendents, if enacted, would require the approval of county commission. Would you vote to allow the citizens of Jefferson County to elect their school superintendent?
I have a daughter who graduated from Jefferson County High School. I have 2 grandsons who will be going to Rush Strong School, and they will be entering the rest of this county school system as well. To me, our people elect the mayor, we elect our sheriff, we elect our county commission, so the people should have the power to elect the superintendent as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all the questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all. Let's see, we'll move to District 7, and I have 2 for District 7. John L. Scarlett, spoke with him today. He is out of town for business, so he could not be here today. Daniel Smallman. Is Daniel here?
Daniel was here. He got a phone call to go home. He was the only one here from the 7th district.
Okay. All right. Is he just outside, or did he leave?
He had to leave.
Okay. All right. District 8, Ronnie Coleman and Terry Dockery. I don't believe I've seen them. Jimmy Carmichael and AJ Walker.
Jimmy was working.
Jimmy was working. Okay. And District 10, Marcus Reed was the only one on that one. We've already talked to Marcus, so I guess we go straight into school board. All right, we'll start with District 1. Can everybody hear me okay still? Randall, Coach Bradley, Doug Ibbotson, and Anne Marie Lovelace Potts.
And Brian McLean.
And Brian McLaren. All right, and we'll go just on the sample ballot, and let's see, we'll start with Doug, you'll go first. Anne Marie will go second, and then Brian, you will go after them. All right.
Hello, everybody. My name is Doug Ibbotson. I am a independent, uncompromised, self-assured person who lives in Jefferson County, have lived here for 12 years. I live in the 1st District. The reason I want to be on the school board, pure and simply, is for the kids. My parents handed down a country to me of educated, knowledgeable, patriotic people. I am an educated, knowledgeable, patriotic person. That is what we need our kids to be. That is what our kids are beginning to lack. I'm a businessman. I know numbers. I am not an educator. I do not have the personality or the patience to be a teacher. We need people on the school board who understand business, know how numbers work, and implement those for the betterment of our kids.
First question is, thank you. What would you do to, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm gonna start that over, my apologies. What would you support to improve communication between parent, public, and the school board? Would you support quarterly community forums that allow dialogue rather than just 3 minutes of public comment that does not allow for dialogue with board members?
Well, first of all, right now, there is a public comment in the beginning of the school board meetings. They're a joke. The school board has pretty much predetermined what they're going to do when they come in. They listen to the public comments. They do not interact with the parents. The parents do not interact with the school board. That is not communication. What I would do, first of all, is I would make sure that every communication vehicle that we have available, radio, internet, newspapers, and bulletin boards are used to announce school board meetings. I would then start a survey, and you will see this in a contract that I'm going to be signing and making with Jefferson County. Those parents and citizens of this county who would like to know what is coming up for the school board meetings will be surveyed. I will tell them this is on the agenda. What are your feelings about it? I would also say, in this next quarter, what items would you like me to bring up to the school board? Those will be brought up, voted on, and reported back to the people on that survey. This survey would be available not only to people in District 1, it would be available for people in every district. And I would hope the other school board commissioners would join in and do the same thing. As far as quarterly meetings, the more that elected officials meet with the public, the better. I do not believe in any kind of hidden agendas. I do not believe in any kind of behind-the-scenes maneuvering. I do not believe in private debate. I believe in public participation.
Thank you. Ms. Potts?
Good evening. Thank you, Jefferson County Post, Mayor Jacobs, for being the moderator. My name is Anne Marie Lovelace Potts, and I'm seeking re-election as a school board commissioner in the Republican primary. I've served the school board for the past 20 years. I am a graduate of the University of Tennessee, majoring in business administration, majoring in accounting. I have 40 years experience in accounting, public accounting, corporate accounting, and non-for-profit accounting. My financial background is one of my strengths as a school board member. I appreciate the opportunity I have had to serve my community as a school board member, and I want to continue to do so. We have achieved a lot in the past since I've been on board, and there's a lot more to do. I'd like to thank you, and I look forward to, I would appreciate your vote and support on May 3rd.
Thank you, ma'am. The question is, what would you support to improve communications between parent and public and the school board? Would you support quarterly community forums that allow dialogue rather than just 3 minutes of public comment that does not allow for dialogue with board members?
Most of our meetings are regulated, well, regulate's not the right word. We have policies that we go by, and they are supported by state statute. So the state has a statute on public request and public information. School board has a policy, county commission has a policy. Each one of the two boards go by the same rules the same operation. We meet on a monthly basis. Everybody, or not everybody, but our meetings are always on the first Thursday of the month. I'm always available. I'm willing to give out my telephone number, my email address, for any communication that we need. We meet on a monthly basis. As far as a quarterly report, it's available online with our minutes, and we also reported it in the newspaper and online on the internet. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian McLernan, and I want to thank all of you who have stuck around through this. It's getting to be a long evening. My wife Cleo and I moved to Jefferson County on April Fool's Day 2009, and we love it here. Prior to that, I spent 40 years as a professional educator in New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. I taught at every level from grade 6 through the graduate level. I spent the last 15 years of my career as a professional consultant in school districts around the country. I was a nationally certified trainer for the Project Intercept educational model. I've been in hundreds of classrooms, dozens of school districts, and many communities. In that time, I learned that most of us look at change in the profound hope that it will go away. It won't.
Sir, the question is, what would you support to improve communication between parent, public, and the school board? Would you support quarterly community forums that allow dialogue rather than just 3 minutes public comment that does not offer dialogue with board members?
3 minutes is an incredibly short amount of time. I think that there are all kinds of possibilities to open up communication. I want to congratulate the district and the school board on hiring a director of public relations, because the need to spread and stimulate and activate and ask for communication is absolutely essential. I wish that more parents would take the time to visit the schools, to phone the teachers, to call school board members. That's not really what happens. The more we involve more people, the better it is. The school board, as it is, welcomes comment at their monthly meetings. I think it would be a step backward to move from monthly to quarterly. Thank you.
Mr. Jefferson, question to you, sir. What measure will you support to build our local bank of educators to ensure that there is a deeper pool of administrators to fill future positions? Let me repeat that, please. What measures will you support to build our local bank of educators to ensure that there is a deeper pool of administrators to fill future positions?
Well, first of all, I don't think we need a deeper pool of administrators. I think the pool we have of administrators right now is so deep that we're drowning in that pool. What I think is we need frugality in the administration. My feeling about school districts and any corporate organization is they start with a school superintendent having a secretary, that secretary maybe having somebody under them, a clerk, then it goes to the principal, the vice principals, and the teachers. Right now, you have school superintendent who has a secretary, who has a secretary, who has a secretary, who has a secretary, who has a secretary. Then they have a clerk. Then maybe it goes to a principal and an assistant principal. We are drowning in administrators. The only way we are going to get good teachers to replace retiring teachers is to go on a frugality program where we commit over the next 7 years to cut back 7% expense every year, reduce our debt, thereby reducing the interest that's flying out the window and doing nothing for curriculums, nothing for teachers, nothing for school maintenance, nothing for bus drivers. By reducing the debt, we reduce the interest. By reducing the interest, we have more money to pay good teachers to keep them, more money to recruit good teachers, and more money to put into a good curriculum that we need to maintain. I don't make issues where issues do not exist. We have a lot of good things going on in this school district. Our vocational program here is unexcelled. It's excellent. But when we have 31% proficiency in reading, 32% proficiency in math, and 96% graduation rate, there's something wrong.
Thank you. Ms. Potts, the question to you is, what majors will you support to build our local bank of educators to ensure that there's a deeper pool of administrators to fill future positions?
Well, my interpretation of the question is extremely different from Mr. Albertson. But before I answer, I would like to clarify. I'm sorry, I think McWhorter, is that your? Brian. We have not hired a public relations staff member, and we do not have multiple secretaries and clerks in the administration office. It is very slim, and they do a lot of work for our students. I interpreted a pool of administrators as individuals who are current teachers that are that would like to advance to either be a principal, assistant principal, and then move on up to other ESL, literacy coaches, math coaches. There's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of mentor programs that we develop. And then also Tennessee School Board Association has a program where any individual in the state can attend if they choose or want to become a principal and go through a training process. As far as the debt that was brought up, school board does not have debt in its budget. The debt is on county commission. They are the funding body. We don't have debt. Therefore, we cannot cut our budget to pay off debt. That's the responsibility of county commission. Our responsibility is to educate the children and provide the best services for our teachers and all the support staff, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Ms. Jefferson, would you like to reply?
That's pure pass the buck. The county commissioners are not going to fund something that the school board does not ask for. If the school board asks for $12 million and they give a good reason, the county commissioners are going to fund $12 million. The idea that you can balance a budget by buying whatever you want and borrowing whatever you need, that's not balancing a budget. A budget is balanced by seeing what you have, prioritizing payments, and using the difference for long-term projects. That's just pure baloney. The school board does cause debt. It maybe doesn't carry it on its books, but it carries it in the county.
On July 20th, 2021, County Commission passed the following motion. First of all, the motion was made to fund 2 elementary schools, the first in the Jefferson City District and the second in the Piedmont Elementary District. It was amended so that County Commission agreed that they would pay half of the design fee if the school board would pay half of the design fee for 1 new school. So they agreed at that point. We received permission that this was going to take place, that we were going to get the funding for Jefferson Elementary. The whole process with Jefferson Elementary the school board received permission before we moved forward. We asked if we could fund it. They did the research.
Yes, sir, Ms. McClure. If you, would you like to answer the original question, or would you like to go with the rebuttal first?
I'd like to go with my rebuttal first.
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Is that okay? Sure.
Well, they had a chance to rebut the things.
Yes.
What just happened here is that Mr. Iverson hijacked the question to go directly to something that he wanted to talk about, rather than answer the question that was asked. The question that was asked was, what would you do to broaden a pool of administrators for the district? In my experience, in 40 years in education, the problem all too often is that really qualified teachers, great instructors, for some reason get promoted into administration where they don't really belong. That's a place for leaders and coaches. And what happens is districts tend to inbreed their administrators, so that if a person is a good teacher, they get promoted to assistant principal, they get promoted to principal, and on to the district level. And what happens is that there's no development.
I'm going to, do either of you have a comment about Mr. McClure's question? Mr. McClure will have the ability to rebut.
That's fine. I did not hijack the question. I said we don't need more administrators. That's the question. Would we breed more administrators, or whatever the terminology was, would we have more to hire more or bring more administrators along to be teachers? I said no. I think teachers have a gift. I don't have that gift. I don't have the patience, and I don't have the talent to be a teacher. I think most administrators are in the same boat. Administrators are administrators. If they want to be teachers, fine. Let them get their teaching credential, apply to be a teacher.
Mr. McClure, and this will close out this question.
The state of Tennessee is 46th in the nation in spending for education. It is 33rd in the nation in educational rank. The idea that we need to be more frugal and cut back is utterly absurd. If we're going to move forward, and the pandemic showed us that brick and mortar schools are going to be a part of our future forever. The pandemic showed us that brick and mortar schools are an essential part of our economy, not only for the development of our children, but for the employment potential of their mothers and their fathers, for food for underfed children. Our school district has 52% of our kids on free or reduced cost lunch, and he wants to reduce spending? It's absurd.
And this will be the last question to you, Mr. Ibbotson. Should there be term limits for the school board? And if so, what should the term limit be?
That's an easy one. So I'll rebut his. I did not say we should cut back spending. I said we should.
Sir, could you, this is the question.
Yeah,
please.
okay.
So this is
All right,
term
I'll
limits.
answer it first. 100% we should have term limits. As a matter of fact, I believe we should have term limits for every elected official. I am here because you'll never get a sitting commissioner, senator, assemblyman, representative, once they're in, to agree to term limits. I am telling you right now, and I'm putting it in writing, that I will not serve more than 2 4-year terms under any circumstances. That, I believe, should be the standard. You can take that to the bank. Now that I've answered that question,
Sir, that, I'm not gonna allow any more.
oh, you're not, okay, all right.
So, thank you. Ms. Potts, the question is, should there be term limits for the school board? And if so, what should the term limit be?
Well, I was elected for the first time in 2002. I would have never imagined that I would still be standing asking for your vote and support in another election. I serve because I want to help my community. It's all about the kids and the students, the teachers. That's what's important to me. It gives me energy and it gives me hope. I am committed to making Jefferson County school systems one of the best. The people decide if I'm going to be elected or not. I appreciate their support over the years, and I do look forward to having the opportunity to serve again. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McLernan, the question is, should there be term limits for the school board? And if so, what should the term limit be?
I'm a consensus-seeking moderate Democrat. I believe strongly in term limits. As I say that, I want you all to know that I am somewhat to the left of Joe Manchin as a Democrat and miles to the right of AOC. And we've got to thank people like Anne Marie and like Coach Bradley who have served for years and years and years in our district. But, Anne Marie, if you can't do it in 20 years, what are you going to do in 24? It's time for term limits. It's time for the people to take back control. If we have term limits for the President of the United States, shouldn't we have term limits for our mayor, for our school board members? I'm going to agree with Doug 100% on this one. We need term limits for all elected officials. The problem that we have on the national level and on the local level is that too many people who mean well stay too long. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I want to ask you to vote for me. I want to make one final comment. You won't see Brian McLernan lawn signs because I hate them. I find them at best politically divisive. I find them aesthetically ugly. They ruin our neighborhoods. And I find them a tremendous waste of money. And to some degree, a lot of that money isn't even spent in the county where they're displayed. Thank you very much.
Ms. Potts, you have the opportunity to add your comments to that.
Like I said earlier, I would have never imagined I would still be continuing to want to serve as a school board member, but I do. To say what you're going to do in the next 24 years, when you're in government, it moves slowly. Decisions are made on a slow basis, but I just enjoy being around educators. I just think it's fascinating, and I like to have the opportunity to serve again.
Mr. McLernan.
If term limits are good enough for the President of the United States, they're good enough for the school board.
Thank you all. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost there. District 3. It's, let's see, Joshua Cameron, Denise Fair, Bill Jarnigan, Robbie Pinkerton, and Mary Jane Samsel. Mary Jane, I spoke with her today. She had some medical problems and so sorry that she was not able to be here. You got it all by yourself?
Great.
That's it. Come on up. All right. And you got a 1 minute to introduce yourself, and then you got a few questions. All right. But if you mention yourself in the answer, you get a right rebuttal.
Good, so I should keep doing that.
Rebut yourself if you like.
Okay, that's a good plan. Good evening, everybody. I know everybody's tired and want to get out of here. My name is Denise Bayer, and I am running for school board in District 3. I was previously on school board from 2016 to 2020. We did move from the Newmarket District into the Jefferson City District last January. I have 6 children. 5 of them are in our system, so I have a lot of currency, a lot of buy-in to this system. I went to Liberty University and graduated with a pre-law government and communications degree, and did go to law school for just a little bit, but don't hold that against me, no offense. Yeah. I am very passionate about our schools and our children, and want to see this county turned around. The folks that are on the board are out of touch, and 20 years is too long. We need a change, and it needs to be positive, and we need to speak more as parents and let everyone know what we expect for our children in this system.
Thank you. The first question is, recently there's been some concern regarding the naming of citizens that make public records requests and high fees associated with those requests. Should transparency be a priority for the school board and Department of Education? And should the school board support requests for public information without exorbitant fees and naming of those requested in school board meetings?
Absolutely. I think that the first part of any government or any foundation, I work at Jefferson County 911, I deal with public records all the time. I think anything that goes on, especially to deal with our children, our citizens, taxpayer dollars, all of you guys, whether you have kids or not, are paying taxpayer dollars to fund the schools, the school system, and other things that go on in this county, roads, etc. Everything should be transparent. We should be held accountable. We should hold those folks accountable. There should not be a fee. You can post those things online to where you can go and put a little tab and decide exactly what you need to see. So tracking folks, like some school board members have decided to do or put their names on a list, is wrong. It's unethical and it's wrong. Those are public records. We should have access to those. If they're online, you should be able to print them out yourself. So there should not be a fee for printing that out yourself. Those things happen in open meetings because the Sunshine Law, you're not allowed to debate and talk about how you're going to vote on things behind closed doors. So public records should be open, should be easy to attain, and should be free to the public if they can print them out themselves. And if they can't, it should be a very minimal penny a page, or bring their own paper, bring their own toner, whatever they need to do. It's public records. They should be able to get those records easily and anytime that they need them or want them for any reason, and not be tracked and punished in that way for asking for them.
Thank you. The next question. In the stressful society that we live in, how can public education be improved to provide physical safety while still allowing children to be children?
Oh, this is a good question. As I mentioned a couple of moments ago, I work at Jefferson County 911, so I am very big on school safety. My husband is a sergeant in Dandridge Police Department, so there's a strong law enforcement background here in my home. When I was on the school board before, we have emergency scenarios that we do every year. The Sheriff's Department comes together with emergency services and they plan an emergency when school is not in. They take a few kids that have volunteered and okay with the parents to participate, and they go in and practice active shooter situations or whatever the emergency that year may be. When I was on the board, I asked that one of us needed to be appointed to just listen, to not put any input in on those emergency situations and drills,
but just to listen so that we would know what's going on, so that we could report back to the community. Transparency, that's what I wanted. And it's very important to me because I have, at the time, 6 children in the system. I wanted to know how we were preparing and how our emergency services were responding to possible incidents. They shot me down. We don't need to know. That's what those guys have. That's their problem. We don't need to know. Why not? It's transparency. It's, are we having the needs of our children and preparing for them forthrightly, looking ahead, trying to figure out what scenarios they could have to deal with in school, especially in a stressful situation like we've had other school shootings. We need to know what could possibly happen. And the school board needs to know. They need to have knowledge, but they didn't want it. They just wanted the other entities to have a hand in that, and they just didn't need to know. That's wrong. They should be prepared and have the knowledge, because guess who's going to be sued if something happens? School board, the county.
Thank you. And this is the third and final question. How important is an open working relationship with County Commission, and how would you propose to improve that relationship?
I think this is extremely important. Going back to my time on the board when I served for the 4 years, it was kind of a running joke with the other members, that most of them are still on the board, that they don't get along. They never get along. The only thing that they need County Commission for is to sign a check. They want something, so they'll be nice to County Commission for whatever time they need and get that check signed. And then let's move on and let's get to doing what we need to do. Just the same way as with the parents. It was also a running joke that they would get emails. I got emails, maybe 1 or 2 fell through the system, fell through the cracks that I did not respond to, but that was like a major point of mine, is I wanted to respond to anyone that came to me, emailed me, called me, wanted to meet with me, grabbed me because I coached cross country at JES and JMS. Hey, I know you're on school board, can we talk? Yes, but it was a joke. We don't call those people back. We don't talk to them. We're up here. We're the school board. We don't need that interaction. But County Commission is very, very important to us, and we are to them. It is very important to have a good working relationship with our funding body. We should have some type of meeting, a quarterly breakfast or brunch, just to get together and see what's going on between the 2 entities. There's got to be a common ground there, not just, you need to sign this check, we want this now, and then we don't talk to you and we pursue our own personal agendas until we need you again.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Thanks to all the candidates who are here tonight, and also to all of you for being here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Guys, I was going to tell everybody thank you for coming, and this is the conclusion of the debate. We'll have a video of the entire debate posted on the Jefferson County Post in probably 4 or 5 days. And make sure and follow us on election night. We post live results precinct by precinct. We actually put it up on our Jefferson County Post Facebook page. So thank you all for coming.